Now, Donald Trump is very sad. According to interviews with 6 White House staffers and people close to him, he has been increasingly isolated and is now in generally a very dark mood. Well, that's interesting. Now, the cause of this might be the lack of legislative achievements. It could also be the Russia investigation that seems to be closing in on him. Could also be some of the recent departures of many who were his close friends and supporters. And it could be a combination of all three. All we know is that Donald Trump is very, very sad. He is not happy. You also had one of Trump's news fluffers recently resigning. This is Andrew Hemming. We talked about him. He was the guy that was in charge of finding all this positive news and putting it into a folder that was to be delivered to him twice a day. So this was, all the positive news stories. You'd sit there and watch cable news all day and be like, oh, here's a positive story in CNN for Trump or New York Times for Trump, which became, of course, increasingly rare. So I'm assuming he had to go to a lot of right-wing sources like Breitbart and Fox News to find positive news headlines. And failing that, he would go through and he would pick out pictures that made the president look strong and positive chyrons. So now that was his job. And even that guy, or at least one of the guys, he had 2 people working on it. One of the guys is gone. I think at some point he was like, what am I doing with my life? I got to get out of here. If I had that job personally, I would want to kill myself. So either that or get out, get out, get out. Well, one of them got out. Now, you do have some of the staffers that are still left, but since Donald Trump has proven himself to be a paper tiger, there's no respect left in the White House, so nobody respects him. For example, I've got Rex Tillerson and Gary Cohn. They had come out and recently distanced themselves from the president in the wake of Charlottesville. You also had General Mattis. After President Trump signed this order about banning transgender people, Mattis comes out and says, you know what, actually, I don't think we're going to do that. After all, I'm not done with my study yet. Now, I'm not saying that he won't actually enforce that ban, but right now Mattis is saying, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to wait. We're going to do the study. Because, look, your order basically said, find out a way to do it, right? But I'm going to ignore that, and I'm going to actually finish my study to figure out if this is the right thing to do. So, sorry, Mr. Trump, even I'm going against you. And that's, of course, somebody that he appointed to that position. So that's very interesting. And look, with all of this open defiance against Trump in the White House, well, that's got him very upset, very isolated. Now, according to a source, one of these sources that spoke to Politico, he said of that, I think that cuts him to the quick. But he knows he can't afford to push anyone out. Now, this specifically refers to, of course, Gary Cohn and Rex Tillerson. So he's like, yeah, the guys came out and they openly rebuked him on his statements to Charlottesville. Trump would fire him, but he knows he can't. Well, why can't he? Well, it turns out he's got no one that is willing to replace them. So, and look, this was proven he was proven again to be a paper tiger when it came to Jeff Sessions. Now, Trump challenged Jeff Sessions. He said, hey, look, he was trying to get the guy fired, right? You're not defending me enough on Russia, and so I need to, bully you and make sure that you quit. I can't fire you because that looks really, really bad. Well, Sessions called his bluff, and he said, I'm not leaving. I'm going to stay here and piss off. I'm not quitting my job. That, again, completely undermined Donald Trump. And so, again, he's not doing well. He is not happy about this. And he's shown that he's essentially powerless. So, also adding on to that, the source said, outside of UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, people who are close to Trump outside of UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, who people close to Trump do not think is ready to head the State Department, I couldn't name you a guy who would take the job or get confirmed. So, He's out of options. He can't fire anybody. So he's just got to take the staff as it is. No wonder he's pissed. Now, this source also described the president's mindset in recent weeks as being, quote, the worst it's ever been. Quote, he feels like this is not what he signed up for, and his accomplishments are being underplayed. Are you sad, Donald Trump? Is this not what you signed up for? Oh, baby, snowflake, sad. What do you think you signed up for anyway? You didn't sign up to be king. You signed up to be president of the United States, which it turns out is a hard job. Who knew being president would be so complicated? I know, right? And look, part of the job is receiving a lot of criticism. You're going to get a lot of criticism from the other side, and sometimes even from your own side, and you're going to have to learn how to deal with it. And now some of that criticism is fair, and some of that criticism is incredibly unfair, and you have to learn to deal with it. And unfortunately for Trump, when he gets criticized, he can't handle it. The guy's got the thinnest skin in the world. Now, what's funny is that he can dish it out for years. For example, going back to when during the Obama administration, President Obama, he would go on Fox News for years and be like, "Oh, Obama's he's not even our president. He's actually a Kenyan Muslim. Where's his birth certificate? Blah, blah, blah." But as soon as he gets any sort of criticism himself, he melts like a snowflake. Hey, man, what comes around goes around, bitch. As for his accomplishments being underplayed, I have to ask, what accomplishments? You pretty much haven't done anything. Now, look, he did sign a whole bunch of executive orders that have rolled back some regulations and things like that are, of course, helping to destroy the environment, any progress on climate change, and that is unfortunate, especially considering the damage that Harvey had just recently caused. But hey, look, those don't count. Why? Because you can sign an executive order that doesn't take skill, that doesn't take negotiation. That all you have to do is be like, I signed this executive order. That's it. You actually, in order to have something accomplished, you actually have to work through Congress. And that's something that he's shown that he's completely unable to do. I mean, did he work with Congress to repeal the ACA? No, he did not. Will he do tax reform? Maybe. I mean, look, you've got a lot of Democrats and a lot of Republicans, I should say, the corporate Democrats, that do want to cut taxes for the rich. So this should be a slam dunk. This should be a layup. But at the same time, repealing the ACA should have also been a slam dunk. He could have been able to do that. But this is Trump. He can bungle anything. There is no limit to what this guy can fuck up. He has the shit touch. So, but of course, you ask him, oh, it's never my fault. It's always somebody else. It's the media. It's the Democrats. Everybody's being so mean to me. What a fucking snowflake. Now, this is the best part of this interview. The source added, quote, he just looks around and says, when is this going to get better? Look, I know I shouldn't be laughing because this is somebody who's obviously not having a good time, not exactly getting what he wanted out of this presidency thing. But look, man, he kind of deserves it. Yes, it is super sad. Yes, he is a super sad person. But like I said, what comes around, or what goes around comes around, man. And look, the thing is, he wants a safe space from the Mueller investigation. He wants to get away from the Russia stuff. He wants to get some achievements, but it's not going to happen with that current style and with his policies that are actually super, super unpopular. So, and look, the mean press is not going to stop hurting your feelings. Okay, they're going to go after you because that's kind of what they do. They have to keep the president in check. So, and like I said, sometimes it can be fair. Sometimes the criticism can be absolutely unfair. But you can't get a safe space from that, from all criticism. Okay? Now, speaking of safe spaces, and the Mueller investigation, depending on how that turns out, he may get a very, very safe space rather soon. But as far as feeling bad for him, I don't feel bad for him. He's getting exactly what he asked for and exactly what he deserves. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.